Hey guys, Chris Wiedmar here with Party Horses, winner of the February 2022 Five Across Pitch Competition. Want to wish everybody the best of luck in the April competition. As we like to say at Party Horses, be foolish.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Awesome Inc.'s podcast, where we highlight people pursuing their definition of, you guessed it, awesome. So buckle up and get ready for some more success story adventures and failures from Kentucky's tech and entrepreneur community. Hey guys, what's up? Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Awesome Inc. podcast. Thanks for following, subscribing, wherever you're tuning in from. Today, I have the pleasure of sitting down with the winner of the Five Across February 2020 pitch competition here in Lexington, Kentucky at the Lyric Theater. And it was a great event, way to kick off the year. And as always, the Five Across presenters are telling a larger story for what that year is going to encapsulate. So with that being said, I will say your name, Chris. Why don't you give a quick introduction, say what your company name is, and maybe just the quick 30-second elevator pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Garrett. I appreciate it. Chris Wiedmar with Party Horses NFT. So Party Horses is an NFT project out of Louisville, Kentucky that essentially we flip the head on if you imagine the horses going to the Kentucky Derby and watching the humans race. So we've got 10,000 of these horse PFP NFTs that'll be coming out on March 15th. And so you've got everybody that looks like they belong in the infield with some cutoffs on and some tattoos, all the way up to Millionaires Row and everything in between. And so while we were really passionate about the digital art component of this, we wanted to shine a light on Kentucky and what we do well. So what we do well is horse racing, is bourbon, and I think we're pretty creative and artistic state as well. So we wanted to incorporate all those into a blender, throw it out, and what you got is Party Horses NFT.
That is hilarious. Okay, well that explains so much. So I was telling Chris that the night of the Five Across events, I'm usually running around, so I'll just catch snippets. So that makes sense, from some of the actual artwork I've seen from your team. I didn't know that it was the horse perspective of like, hey, we're watching humans race. I often will talk about people like, man, what if dogs actually ruled the world? And it's a sick joke that we just make them we take care of them for free. Man, that's funny. That is really good. And also, you mentioned it, and I tell people this quite often in conversations, that most people think Kentucky is basketball, horse racing, bourbon, and we're barefoot hillbillies. And that's mostly people from out of the state. And you're smashing this stigma by creating a cool tech startup. And so with that, most people have probably heard the acronym NFT. It's all the rage with like Bitcoin and crypto right now. Can you talk about what an NFT is, maybe as like an individual unit, and then maybe some of the trends your team has seen around this space?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I'll backtrack a little bit. NFT, what we're putting is under what I would say a larger umbrella for what we're calling Web3. And you're seeing that as kind of a buzzword, if you will. But I think it's really taking off right now. So we had looked at a couple different opportunities in this Web3 and cryptocurrency space from a team standpoint. And we liked a number of different things we were trying to do. But we said, look, none of us have ever done anything in this Web3 space yet. Let's build some credibility and make sure we understand what we're doing. And so a friend of yours and a friend of mine, a guy named Zach Jenkins, kind of came up with the concept initially for the horses going to watch the humans race. So we said, well, let's do an NFT first. And to your point, like really shine a light on that. And so, to backtrack a little bit, an NFT is like the worst name ever. Like any marketing 101 student would be like non-fungible tokens. Like, what is that? What are we talking about? And it can be a little intimidating, right? Especially, like I said, if you're new to the space and you're like, oh, I thought this was just some cool art. To us, the NFT portion of it, it's really being about a member of a certain community, right? And so the cool thing we've seen in these NFT projects is, while it could be amazing art or you're seeing stuff in music, we've got some friends in Cincinnati that are doing an NFT movie that actually just got picked up by HBO, is like, it's really getting you access to a community of people that have similar interests to you. So whether that be getting interested through the art, which is what we've got, whether it be through the utility, which we're providing events. And, I think we'll talk about it probably too, but we partner with Maker's Mark, where everybody will get a custom Party Horses bottle of Maker's Mark with our NFT. We're really trying to push the envelope of just like, hey, yeah, we're going to have really cool horses that you can pick from and buy. That's great. But like, we want to add a lot more to it and a lot more utility to this space that we feel is kind of lacking right now. So it's an interesting place to be. NFTs, I feel like, have really exploded. Probably around the holidays, I feel like, of 21 is when it really, saw it picked up in a lot of mainstream media, Twitter. And even then, like, I've got my great aunt that bought one and she's 72, which I never thought would happen. Right. And so like, it's crazy to see, more and more people start to adopt these, whether it be Web3 technologies or NFTs in particular. We kind of see it as like, that's your digital brand, right? Like in the real world, you might wear some Nikes or, a Patagonia shirt, and that kind of defines who you are. If we really are moving into this digital world, or what Facebook would call the metaverse, this is a way to kind of show your personality, who you're about, what kind of brands you're affiliated with. And so that's kind of how we view NFTs at Party Horses.
Man, super cool. That was a mouthful. And I think one of the things I've found to be really entertaining, I think that's an appropriate word, with your pitch and doing a little research is, one, I saw that bottle you guys with the label of Maker's Mark, I think a week or two before Five Across happened, which was really cool to see your work transcending, across the state. Yeah. So you guys are bringing a fresh new perspective to a very old industry. The bourbon industry has been around here for decades. And, speaking of Maker's Mark, the Samuels family, they are well known in Kentucky, and they're actually in the Kentucky Entrepreneur Hall of Fame for their brand. So cool to see you guys are bringing a fresh new perspective, like I just said, to this space. So how did that specifically come up? Like, why did you guys pick this product?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at it, we obviously, the art will showcase the horses, right, and the horse racing perspective. For us, we wanted to shine a light on what else Kentucky is known for, and bourbon is, booming everywhere right now, right? And so we had talks with a number of big bourbon distillers in the state, and Garrett, you kind of touched on it a little bit. It is an older industry, but it's not. But I feel like every industry right now is getting hit with, from their board level down to their executives, what are we doing with NFTs? I'm sitting next to somebody on a Delta flight and they're talking about NFTs. What are we doing with it, right? And so for us, it was to make sure we partnered with the right corporate partner, right? I think you've seen some folks like Budweiser, for example. I feel like they kind of threw spaghetti against the wall, and it wasn't authentic, and it was just kind of checking a box, right? And so we want to be cognizant of, like, if we were bringing someone to this, that they were aware of what this space looks like and how to do it in an authentic way. And for us, Makers really just checks that box. I mean, it's a progressive brand. They believe in art. If you look at it too, if you think about it, Garrett, Makers, and using the NFT, one of one scenario, every bottle of Makers is different, right? It's hand dipped, so your wax is different than mine will look on a bottle. And so they've also got this, Web3 and NFTs are big on community. And I think Makers has done community almost better than any bourbon company I've seen, where they've got an ambassador program, and it's well over, a couple 100,000 people that are in this, and they live, breathe, die Maker's Mark releases. And so for us to get in with a group that's already kind of got that, I don't know, call it a Web 1.0 or 2.0 community already, and then to kind of move to this 3.0, it's more in the digital space, it made a lot of sense. And then honestly, they were gung-ho about it from the get-go. I mean, we literally had the first meeting with them, I think, like the first week of January. And I've dealt with a lot of large enterprise corporate clients, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be a 6-month process. But they were like, no, we're in. If we're giving everybody one of 10,000, how can we help? And so they've been an amazing partner in all of this. And I think they'll really, once again, I think it adds another utility to the NFT outside of some really cool art. But it's like, hey, you're also getting a really rare bottle of Makers that nobody else has. Well, 10,000 other, NFT holders will have, but nobody else will have access to. And they've been awesome. Like, they want to keep pushing the envelope of what we can do, not just, once these things are minted, but throughout the year and the years, I would say. We're working with an interesting roadmap with those guys of some other cool things we can do. So yeah, from a partnership standpoint, they've been first class. And I'm really excited. I finally got the physical bottles the other day. And I've got one on my mantle at home. And so I'm excited to start giving these out to the community and seeing what other people do with it. It'll be fun.
Yeah, that's sweet, Chris. Is there any, and this is a tangent, by the way, is there any potential for a Party Horses, like either UK or U of L basketball team, something or other?
It's funny. We've had some folks reach out to us. not necessarily the collegiate level, but some other sports teams that we have in the state,
Okay.
right? And so, we've thought about what that would look like, whether it be, could we help maybe design a jersey for a sporting team, or, do like a one-off, something like that. So we've got a lot of things in mind. For us, it's big for us on the roadmap and being transparent with our community of like, hey, we don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, right? And so we've got a number of things that we're evaluating right now that'll probably come to fruition more probably later in the summer or fall. But yeah, there'll definitely be, I think, some sports components to what we can do with some folks in the state in regards to whether that be a jersey, whether that be some promotional giveaways or access or tickets. There's some number of different ways we can work with it. Yeah, randomly enough, I got an email last night from a minor league baseball team out of South Carolina wanting to partner with us on stuff. So, these NFTs, it's a very, very happening place to be right now, and everybody wants to be a part of it. I think part of our job is listening to our community and what they want to do, and then kind of giving them the options. And that's kind of how we're looking at it.
Yeah, Chris, that's really exciting, brother. And to hear that people from across the state are reaching out to you is just showing the impact that this could potentially have. So you mentioned the word community when you mentioned Maker's Mark. Let's navigate just a little bit back towards Five Across. So again, really excited for the way you kicked off the year. Can you talk a little bit about your experience? How did you hear about Five Across? Was it a recommendation? What made you initially want to pitch at that event?
Yeah, so Keith and I have had a relationship for, I don't know, probably a little over a year now. So definitely well aware of what you guys are doing. And I think it's amazing for, the state, for Lexington. I'm hoping you guys can get more up here in Louisville as well, because I think you guys get it, you know what I mean? On a number of fronts, on like, not just like, hey, let me connect you with somebody or you can pitch, or like, you all follow through and you execute, which, not a lot of organizations do throughout the country. I've ran startups before. I've been in these different communities, and this isn't me just blowing smoke. I think you guys do a really, really first-class job of, helping out, but also executing and following up and following through. That just isn't the norm for everybody. So, I've done pitches in the past at different places. What you guys did is a full-on production. That's up there with stuff I've seen in Chicago, Miami, the Valley. It really is first class. And so, so funny enough, I was working on a separate startup that Keith wanted me to pitch, and he approached me about it. And so he reached out again in December, or maybe it was early January, one of the two. And he was like, look,
okay,
we'd love for you to pitch your startup you're doing. I'm like, well, Keith, funny enough, I've actually paused that because this Party Horses NFT is really, really intriguing to me. And I'm doing that full time. I paused what I'm doing. And Keith's like, whoa, pause that. He's like, tell me more. So I tell Keith a little bit more about Party Horses. He's like, well, why doesn't Party Horses come pitch? I'm like, are you sure? I'm like, it's not your traditional startup. It's an NFT. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of startup components. And he's like, no, dude. He's like, there's tons of overlap in these spaces. Like, it is a startup. It's a net new company. And so the more we kept talking, and then Evan Knowles was my coach on this from Simba. And, Evan and I were talking about it. And so we prepped for the pitch. And, really, you guys do a great job, I think, of walking everyone through the process of how to prepare, what needs to be on, how to do a good pitch, because I think that's a big part of it. You're standing on a stage in front of a couple hundred people with a massive background behind you. And, you feel kind of like Steve Jobs almost, right? And so that can be intimidating to some people. And I think kind of walking through the coaching to get yourself prepared and aware was really beneficial. And so I loved it. I was telling everybody in my community that like how you guys do it is the right way. And one other thing I'll give you guys a shout out on, because I think a lot of other cities have missed on this, is you all do a good job of incorporating your corporate partners. I'll mention Chase, for example, because like all those folks hung around when I got done and we talked for probably 15 minutes, right? And it wasn't like, hey, you guys did great, but like, how can we help, right? And it's like one of the issues we see all the time in any startup communities that don't work, it's like you don't have the corporate, communication and partnership. And like the folks from Chase have already followed up with me twice since then. And obviously that's you guys, finding the right partners and building that ecosystem. But once again, I can't sing your all's praises enough, because I think, you go to a lot of these things and it's fun and it's cool, but there's not any follow through execution. And I think you guys literally from A to Z, it's you're prepped and you know what you're going to do. And then there's also follow up and execution afterwards, which I appreciate.
Wow. I cannot say thanks enough for the kind words, and I'll make sure that that's related to the right people. Again, like we take a lot that we do seriously with Five Across and helping startups and founders. It's great. Really encouraging to hear that it was impactful for you and your team. So that being said, I'm just going to plant a seed. Maybe if there's some like awesome ink party horses, cool swag, like we'll think about that down the road. Last couple of things I want to get your opinion on. So what are you going to do with that money from Five Across? How does that help grow your team, or even open new doors potentially for party horses? And like what was just the best part of that experience for you as a presenter and someone who has a background with the startup world and being a founder?
Yeah, I mean, twofold, right? So to me, I think when I got into this NFT space, I was thinking it's going to be a bunch of young dudes that are, just it's not the case. I mean, the demographics of who are involved in NFTs is across the board. And so I think that was evident when I got done with my pitch. Like the different people at the Five Across event that I met with afterwards were people from, I think there was one guy that was like in his 70s that was intrigued about it, to, people that were like, 19, and everybody in between. And so the cool thing was to see the diversity there of everybody that was interested in it and wanted to learn more. And that was awesome. And that it was approachable. It was great. So I think that was really impactful. For us, we're on an interesting timeline with these things compared to like a traditional startup, right? You're like, hey, we've got our launch date, we're raising some money, and you've got a little roadmap. But like for us, Sure. It's like, look, we've got a pre-mint date tomorrow, March 1st. And so that's where early access people will have a white list and a chance to buy or, get signed up to make sure they're guaranteed a spot to buy a party horse on March 15th. So really where the money and once we get it, it'll go out is really just to continue to build hype and awareness, because we want to make sure we're, sharing and spreading the word about party horses in any avenue we can. So we've targeted a couple different NFT, I would say, like specific marketing agencies. And so we'll allocate that money to them to make sure that they're helping spread the word about party horses. Because for us, like I said, these next 2 weeks are crucial to make sure that we're building the right awareness and hype around what we're doing. So it'll be going to one of the NFT groups we're working with.
Chris, awesome stuff, man. Quick question to wrap this up. How can people support Party Horses, the work your team is doing, and really set you up for success and winning in December for the finals?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best thing for us, honestly, is to educate yourself. If you've never bought an NFT or you're curious about it, I would advise educating yourself and seeing what's out there, what makes sense for you from a personality standpoint, and what you kind of vibe with. We've put some good educational videos out there for people that are new in the space, so you can check that out on our website, partyhorses.com. There's a number of ways that'll help, and that'll also give you a much deeper overview of what Party Horses is and what we're looking to do from a roadmap perspective, and also give you some key dates. We're also on Twitter, so very active on the social side at Party Horses is our account. And then, really where a lot of our community lives is in Discord. And I know Discord's a new platform for a lot of people. I was a little scared about it at first, but at the end of the day, it kind of takes you back to almost AOL chat rooms, if people can remember that. But it's people that are aligned on similar values and interests as you are. And so that's what's been the cool thing for us. So if you're interested in that and joining the community as well, I'd recommend joining our Discord. And so that's just type in, if you're looking at just discord.com/GG/partyhorses, and that can take you there as well. So that's the best way to get in touch. And also, like I said, we're a very transparent team. So you can reach out to me through any outlet you got, whether it be phone, text, email, LinkedIn. I think I still got a Facebook account. Any of those avenues, we're happy to talk through with people. I mean, a lot of it really has been education, because people are excited about the art and the bottles and the event that we're doing. But it's like, hey, I've never done this before. So really, it's just a lot about making sure people are comfortable in the space. So happy to help in any way.
Sweet. Well, Chris, I'll make sure that your LinkedIn, your email, and the Discord thread that you just shared, those will be linked in the show notes. So everyone, thanks for tuning into this episode. Make sure to like and subscribe, share with your friends, and support Party Horses. And Chris, we'll catch you in the finals in December. Awesome. Thanks, Garrett. I appreciate it. Big thank you to our title sponsor for the year for Five Across, Connect by Windstream, and to the February presenting sponsor, Chase. We are so grateful for your services and partnering with our team and giving back and sowing seeds into Lexington and Kentucky's entrepreneurial community. Well, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for checking out this episode of Awesome Inks Podcast. And another quick thank you to Lee Rosevear and a few members from our community who provide the music that you hear in this show. Lastly, give us a follow on Instagram, Facebook, all that jazz. Or even better, come on down to our space. Come be a part of our community and get plugged in, and let's start something awesome together. You guys rock. We'll see you next time.